Jay's all pissed. Is it going? Yeah, Jay's all pissed beside us on account of these other drivers. And, yeah, might as well go. Whew. All right, today on Mr. Bojangles Origins, we're going to talk about love, the CIA, and T.S. Eliot. So, I think we should start with T.S. Eliot. I was reading up on this dude because I kind of like his poetry, but I don't like his life. He really didn't accomplish anything or set himself to do anything other than like scholastic endeavors, and then he had a couple romantic affairs that were kind of interesting.
His car died on the side of the road.
Did it?
Yep. Fuck you. Your day's worse than mine, bitch.
You're absolute goddamn raging psychopath, Jay.
Sometimes.
Never change.
I change always. That's the problem.
Yeah. That don't change.
Yeah, there you go. That don't change.
But speaking of, The Hollow Man is a poem that he wrote after reading Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, which is a novella that's pretty near and dear to me. It served as a big inspiration for my latest book because it deals with dehumanization and the way that we end up treating other people and turning a blind eye to it and the effects that we have on other people.
Wait, isn't the one where they hunt the fucking lions?
I think that is...
That's the Ghost in the Darkness.
Yeah. The Man-Eaters of Savo. Yeah, I put that in my first book.
Dude, that shit is badass.
130 fucking people.
I know.
And
Two lions.
Two lions. Barbary lions. You know what a Barbary lion is?
I don't know the difference now.
Well, they're gone. But a Barbary lion is the most aggressive fucking kind of fucking lion. And that's why they're gone. So the MGM studio, when they were shooting their black and white logo with that lion roaring, after they turned that camera off, that motherfucker killed 3 people. The moral of that story is if you manage to catch yourself a Barbary lion, do not put it in a cage.
But we killed them all.
No, they're all gone. Scar from Lion King is modeled after a Barbary lion. So He's kind of a black mane. Like if those man-eating lions had manes, they were maneless. But if they had manes, they would have been black. But
so are there? When you say they're gone, are there any in captivity,
no,
or they're just gone?
They've gone the way of the Smilodon and the fucking Tasmanian tiger. It's a subspecies, but probably for the best. Like now, they're still lions, but they're kind of like they're not like that. They're not like Gladiator, put them in a cage, fucking, you know.
That was also an excellent movie.
Yeah, yeah. It's got stoic values. Yeah, it has Marcus Aurelius as a character. I love that movie.
Briefly.
Yep, he's briefly, but you can't really do much with him because he's a historical character.
Yeah.
So his course of action is known. He had his fucking wife put to death.
His wife what?
He's a stoic character and he...
Breaks.
Breaks.
What the fuck?
He's the best...
Are you shitting me? I swear to God, today is the day I murder every single son of a bitch in Tennessee.
Anarchism is alive and well in Tennessee. We've seen that today.
I'm gonna firebomb the state.
No one's gonna give you those kinds of resources.
Scorched earth. I will go fucking biblical if I see one more. Oh shit, actually I think they might be dead. That's okay, I'll take it back.
Oh.
Alright.
That's another tragedy.
Calm it down.
We've seen a lot of tragedies on the road.
Yeah, that's because we're on the road so much. It's like, you know, everybody talks about like how rock stars always die in car accidents and shit, or in plane accidents and shit, but like you think about it, they're in a plane statistically way more than like anyone else other than, I don't know, pilots.
Yeah.
And they're small planes. But like, so it's the same thing for us. Like, of course, we're going to see car accidents constantly.
Yeah.
Because think about the thousands of miles we put down a week.
Yeah, we're all over the map.
And on weekends, like now, like Rolling Stones are in town. It's Nashville, of all places. Like, everybody's drunk. Everybody's drunk. Like, I guarantee the DUIs tonight exceed the average Saturday night tenfold.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we're getting the hell out of town. We cleaned up the fucking ghettos today in Nashville.
Yes, we did.
Like, that was wild.
And there was no poop.
Yeah. There was a bottle of maggots.
There was a bottle of
interesting.
maggots.
But
There was a jar of some type of fatty substance at the other one we went to that was very concerning to me.
yeah,
I didn't know what it was, but it was interesting.
in the wise words of Rick Sanchez, don't think about it. No, but those lions in Savo, they finally got killed. See if I can remember the gentleman's name who killed him, Sir. I'll look it up later. But they stuffed those lions and sent them to a museum in London, England. And
Are they still there?
yeah, they're still there. The taxidermy's not held up after like 100 and something years, 150 years or so. But the whole story is they're building the Kenya-Uganda rail line. And I've actually been on that rail line. And while they're crossing Kenya, they end up coming into the territory of these two lions, and for some reason the lions only wanted to eat people. And so this is a moving camp, and it has a lot of workers, and they called them coolies, but they were hired Indians. And
Signal.
yeah, that's because I'm getting over. Which is probably not an appropriate term, but that's what they were referred to as. And so you have this moving labor force, and then they're getting attacked, and so they start taking brambles, the real thick briars, to start building huge walls every night. And the lions are crawling through or jumping over the barbs and taking people every single fucking night, like just ripping them out of their beds. No one can beat them off, no one can scare them off the fire, no one can shoot them. Just constant nightly killings. And everyone was wondering why this was going on, because why aren't the lions going for their natural source of food? Why are they working so hard to get people? And I understood that it's probably tooth decay. They looked at their teeth, and they have softer teeth, so they can't go out and kill a gazelle, but they can pull a person out of their bed. So it most likely went down because they had bad teeth.
Interesting.
But in my novel, The Bathysphere, I talk about it, and I put down that it was because we killed all the food, the camp killed all the local food and forced the lions to kill them. So I put down a theory that I don't myself believe in, because it fed into the theme of the novel, which is like, if you fuck with nature, it'll fuck right back.
But I mean, that's true. We've seen that time and time again.
It's true, but it's most likely not the case with the man-eaters of Savo. But yeah, T.S. Eliot's Hollow Man. Just kind of working back from all the points we picked up.
How is that working back?
It's something I brought up that
No, I know. I just mean that's a full-on retransition.
yeah.
I like it. I'm here for it. Continue.
Yeah, the Hollow Man. I read it and put it on, and read it to music and put it online because I love that poem so much. And he wrote it after reading Heart of Darkness, and then when Apocalypse Now was made, they had Marlon Brando playing Kurtz read it aloud, and it's sort of to symbolize his derangement, that he's just openly reading poetry in places and whatnot. And so that's kind of a nice little bit, but the subject matter of that poem, it's like he did something bad when he wrote that. Like, that is straight up a man that is just guilty of, like, just feeling guilt for doing something bad. T.S. Eliot's famous for never telling us exactly what the fuck he's talking about. But it is a really nice poem. But I think that this author is kind of just always going back to his childhood. I think that's kind of the handle on T.S. Eliot, is he didn't really live a wild or hard life like most of the other authors. He sat in parlor rooms and smoked, and the best thing he had going on is he married this one woman that ended up like going absolutely insane and had to get committed. Do you know how many authors' wives end up going fucking nuts? Like Zelda and Fitzgerald. Yeah. Like she burned to death in an insane asylum on Montfort Street in Asheville.
Yeah. Although, all right. So here's the big question.
Yeah.
Do writers turn their wives crazy, or do writers have a type that they go after who happens to be crazy?
Yeah.
Or is it a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B?
That's what I'm wondering. Is like, because you and me are attracted to wild women, like women that are bound for an asylum. I could make better choices. I just don't.
I don't know if that's true. I feel like I date. I don't think they're all bound for an asylum. I don't think I've ever dated a woman bound for an asylum.
Absolutely. The crazy ones are the best ones.
I can't think of a
crazy
single
sex is
lady
the best sex
that I've dated who has been like just certified insane.
Well, not certified insane, but like as a relationship goes on, particularly like if you put two people that are like you think about the pressures of dating an author. It's like they're always going to be trying to check the work. Like Mrs. Clemens, Mark Twain's wife, I was reading an essay that Orwell wrote about him, and he's just like, she policed the shit out of him. Like, he could have been so much better, but he was so responsible to his social life and saying things that were careful and not threatening to the church or any of the powers that be. And his wife was absolutely like stepping on his balls the whole time. So we got out of Mark Twain something a little bit more placid than he naturally is as an individual.
You need to get over again.
Yeah. Because of that. But if you think about it, like,
but I also,
with a more wild author, like, they're constantly going to be like, what kind of crazy shit did you just write? Like, is this going to damage the family? Is this going to damage the kids?
Well, I also see it as like, I think that's important though. Like, I think that is the beauty of a relationship with a woman. As men, I feel like a man goes through life trying to die as fast as possible.
We do.
And a woman goes through life trying to live as long as possible.
Yeah.
And so and it's not even intentionally. We're just stupid creatures.
It's nature.
Men are stupid creatures.
We're meant to go down, like, for the hurt.
Yeah.
So we look for opportunities to die in a valiant way if you're living right as a man.
And so when you have a good woman, I don't like her stepping on your balls. That's not it. It's her literally trying to protect you.
From yourself?
Yes. Men can protect women from anything in the world, but the only thing that can protect a man from himself is a good woman.
Yeah, I'm gonna die alone.
Yeah, me too.
But at least we get the concept. We can put it down somewhere.
Well,
I've only ever been in one relationship. I only ever loved one person, and it was so beautiful at the start. It was so tender and fucking. She had my back just in that way. Like, I came back from South America, and literally 3 days later met this woman that I found very. She was the woman that I needed at the time. Like, she wasn't in my wheelhouse. She was very creative. She was very hippie. She was into a lot of weird shit. But she loved me, and I loved her for a total of 3 months before she let me know that I could not trust her. And then the jealousy started. I quit the relationship only to come back because it always ends better a second time. Honestly, my friends, like she kind of isolated me a little bit, and I cut them out of like what was really going on. I was just living a fucking country lifestyle. Like we had a garden together, and we were taming horses. We both worked at the same place for a little bit. She took care of the kids, I took care of the horses. It was really romantic, but she made no money. She was in school, and so I was bringing in all the money. And then she took a trip to Amsterdam, and I quit my job because I don't even fucking know why. It's isolation, because I was doing 12 hours of isolation.
Yeah.
And then I tried to find another job, and found the job market was. Because I've been working for like 3 years. I didn't know how hard it was to find a job at that time. So then I got really depressed, and she's like, "You're bipolar," and at that point, like we'd gotten so we'd built up so much animosity that we were kind of just yelling at each other, and fucking she kicked me out there. But then she turned around and started torturing me, like telling me about how many partners she was taking a night, and like how big and soft their beds were, and how like that fucked me up, and I almost committed a crime of passion that would have changed my life forever. I didn't, but like, Jesus Christ, am I scared of women now? That one just chewed me up, and I've not dated since, really. Well, I dated a woman for a little bit when I needed someone to take care of me with my like knee injury. But that ended up in a fucking knife/gunfight on the lawn because she wouldn't get a very jealous ex-boyfriend out of the picture, and we were together like 4 months. So I have no idea how to go about fucking dating. I do not entertain that idea lightly.
I'm always good at it for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, you were saying that, like, this last one, like, you kind of handled the breakup a little bit better.
I wouldn't say better, just differently.
Handled it differently. Well, that's growth.
I mean, normally my go-to is put myself in a depressive alcoholic hole.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, I took a job that involves me just leaving the state on a regular basis. So,
Good job for a single man.
It is a good job for a single man. It is not a very good job for a taken man.
Yeah, would you consider yourself a taken man at this moment?
Probably, yeah.
It seems to be heading in that direction.
I mean,
I like her. I like her a lot.
I think that's where my head's at, and I think that's where her head's at. So, I would say yes.
Yeah.
I'd say yes. It's probably pretty... I mean, I have concerns, but it's literally just the time, you know, the sleep schedule. Like, that is the only thing. It is the only thing. And if that's the only thing,
that's pretty. It is pretty
I
good.
feel like that's nothing, you know.
And according to this podcast, we might not have our jobs forever. Yeah, because we almost uploaded this is the second time.
How do you choose not to upload something for a certain reason, and now on a new podcast proceed to talk about said reason?
I'm just saying that there's one of these that we won't put up. We tried this same conversation about Love the CIA and T.S. Eliot before, and you'll never hear it. You'll never hear it because it's mostly us just listening to music and getting stumped.
Yeah.
There's music.
The handful of comments are not ones that the world should hear.
Yeah. I'm not great at knowing when to pull back, but from time to time I know when to pull back. Alright. Next subject of conversation. The CIA. So the CIA, what is their job? What is their whole deal?
Anti-terrorism and making a ton of money off drugs. They keep us safe in a way that allows them to literally just do whatever the fuck they want.
So a couple years ago,
It's the devil you know.
A couple years ago, it got the leader of the CIA got caught up in a sex scandal that was manipulated by George Soros. Like, he sent in an agent, he sent in a woman, just his type, to fucking twist him up, get his marriage, and fucking take his job. So he essentially spanked the leader of the CIA. That is a very powerful sign. That's as powerful an act as I've literally ever seen an internationalist accomplish or heard of. So,
I mean, spooks are gonna spook, you know, and I think that, you know, it's pretty obvious that the fact that you don't know anything about them knows that it's something bad, you know.
Yeah,
like,
no, they absolutely start civil conflicts and unrest.
and so it's kind of one of those things where it's like, all it takes is one person with enough money, enough resources, and enough luck to find one thing about you, and then it's over.
Well, I put myself out there. Like, you can't discredit someone that discredits themselves. That's kind of the philosophy I run under. It's like, did I do it? Well, might as well tell you I did it.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very effective for a clandestine group. Hey, our job is to live in the shadows and secrecy, but we're going to go ahead and put a blog up about all the crazy shit we did.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be very effective.
Yeah, that's the difference between an author and a spy, though. Like, missionaries cooperate with the CIA a good bit to topple, like, certain regimes that pop up from time to time. I think that's pretty cool. I think when I was trying the missionary path, that was sort of like the desired end game, was to like work with the CIA to like just far cry up and take out like overlords and shit. I always thought that'd be interesting.
You remember
the best compliment the smartest person that I have ever met.
Me.
No, took me out to dinner one evening. And the whole point of the fucking dinner was so he could ask this question. He looks at me directly in the eyes and says, "Hey, have you ever, or are you currently, working for the CIA?" At which point I laughed maniacally, slapped the table, and walked outside without giving him an answer. Turns out, there is a trained answer that they have to give you. And that's become something of a tell. But, that reaction, the just pure derangement, that's not what you're looking for. If you want to read up on this subject, the best source of information that I can give you is a book called Confessions of an Economic Hitman, in which he details going into Ecuador and using the World Bank to persuade politicians to install it's either a hospital or a hydroelectric dam. This feeds into Savages of the Dawn as well. And then they have to take out a loan that they owe an incredible amount of money. Then U.S. contractors come down, like they don't use locals, and install this thing, and then that country is left paying for it for the rest of their fucking existence. And that's kind of how we Cold War dominated the rest of the third world, or like and stuff like that's going on. Not just U.S., but like China is colonizing Africa currently. They have huge factories with like Oriental lions and traditional built like walls, dumping sludge into the like local area. I've seen it with my own eyes. It's pretty wild. We're not really talking about the fact that China is colonizing Africa for its resources, because Africa's got so many resources. It's the next gold rush, in my opinion. But no, I always thought it would be cool to work for the CIA.
Everybody knows. You can apply to the CIA once every 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I applied for the CIA for like 3.5 years.
Did you really?
Every 6 months, yeah.
And they little manila folder says unstable, just like mine.
Nah, there's just no callback. Like,
honestly, they use unstable, deranged people quite a lot. You think
I
about it,
think
you're going
I
to
would
send
be
someone-
perfect.
You're going to send somebody to go follow a target. That person has fucking problems. They're almost always got some kind of incredible mental disorder going on. Like, you're asking them to do something really fucked up for a long time. That person has issues. Like, they can be dark issues too, like pedophilia and whatnot. Like, not just personality
How did we
disorders.
go from CIA agents to pedophiles?
No, that's what I'm saying is they get something like that on somebody, and now you're working for us, kind of thing. But they use
I think
money.
most people just volunteer.
They look at a person and they ask themselves, is this person weak to money, sex, or power? And then they kind of bait them along into position with those three things. I'm not weak to any. I'm not.
You're not. You're confused. You're not talking about like an agent with the CIA.
No, yeah, they use that on their own agents. Like, if you're, like in Confessions of an Economic Hitman, like they set this dude up with this woman to straight up, like, suck his dick and fucking make him work in the way that they wanted, which obviously didn't end up working because he wrote a tell-all about his experiences, and they absolutely told him over and over, you don't fucking write this book. He fucking wrote the book anyway.
Yo, those boat trailers, badass.
Yeah, a pretty nice boat trailer. But it's interesting. I think I had agents stuck on me in Colombia. I don't think it was gangsters that came after me the second time. I think it was when my SD card got taken. I think that was more the government being like, who's this weird ass writer guy that's not leaving?
Huh.
Because I left my stupid ass book. I had a handwritten pen book, but I left it in the commune, or the place that I was at, the hostel, like a couple nights in a row. And so somebody definitely read it and was like, that one. Figure out who that one is.
Didn't you also basically sneak into the country?
No, I went through the passports. I just came in through on a speedboat, like the drug runners run out to the islands where I was at, this remote chain of islands, and then I took a speedboat because they're hauling nothing, so they might as well make a couple bucks, and came into Turbo, and then all of a sudden, as soon as we hit this nasty ass fucking city, this little kid comes up with very gangster fucking Spanish, like straight up talking like Scarface. He's 8 years old. He's like, I'll be your guide. And then behind that kid, somebody's following slowly around the corner on a motorcycle, and behind the motorcycle is a car. And I was like, why don't you lead me to the bus stop? So we got out of Turbo real quick.
Yeah, that sounds like taking waiting to happen.
Yeah, no, I take so many incredible unnecessary risks in my life. I live it. I live every day like I'm dying.
I feel like I'm dying every day.
I mean, you never know when the end's going to come, so just make the most out of it.
Oh man, could it please come now?
Yeah, no, my philosophy has this side effect of making me desirous of the end. Like, I want to die in an honorable, noble way. And who knows how it's going to be, you know? I'd hate for it to be something stupid.
I don't want to die of cancer.
Yeah.
I don't want to die of illness.
Yeah. Would you circumvent that outcome?
How so? Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's another thing that tends to follow writers. Is like they have a classic exit.
Yeah.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, go full circle with this. The story about Hemingway and his wife. where he's going to his wife and he's like, hey, the CIA is following me. They're fucking watching me. And she's like, no, you're entering bouts of paranoia. Like, your mental health is clearly degrading. Why don't we try this new thing called electroshock therapy? And he can shock this man's mind, and he loses memories and his ability to write well. He loses himself. So he gets real cozy on a shotgun. And after his death, the man never knew. The CIA were out. He was absolutely fucking right. They were watching him. Because they'll watch authors. Authors have a tendency to spark ideas. They're men of ideas, which is way more dangerous than a fucking gangster. A gangster will kill you if they mess with their business, but people of ideas like missionaries or authors or something, or pastors even, they tend to shift the social landscape. And so, like, you can have somebody like Nietzsche's, who never knew that he was famous, sit in a cabin and just write a bunch of philosophy that ended up inspiring Hitler. And like being like the idea of the Ubermensch, like the Overman or whatever, like. And he said, I read one of his books. He's like, humanity's going to get more evil. Just embrace it or something like that. Like, it's pretty dark. But his writing and Karl Marx. I've read Karl Marx. Like he argues. I've seen directly the passage where he argues for violence against the Industrial Revolution, which he got it twice, but you can't fucking do that in a philosophical writing position.
No,
you cannot condone violence because people will take you up on that, which is it's fucked up. But you gotta shift the dance. You gotta bring a better idea to the table if you're gonna do it right. If you're gonna do it well. But you can't condone violence.
I like violence.
Yeah, I'm a violent person, to be fair. But it's always justified. If you look at any time that I've been provoked, it's almost always just incredibly justified. Like, yeah, I'm in a bad position because, well, hell, I was born in one. But I've managed to keep myself under some sort of oppression or poverty, or, modern day it's alcoholism.
I feel like 9 times out of 10, the best people come from hard circumstances. Like, what is it? Hard times create strong men create easy times create weak men.
The best artists always have deep, deep trauma. Look at Van Gogh. That man was bipolar and borderline. Very bad combination of personality disorders. But, he's another one that made a bunch of incredible contributions to art history and then never knew that, like, we have whole rooms and museums that are just nothing but his fucking artwork on every single, like, just blown up on the walls. Never knew that shit. As a matter of fact, he cut his ear off, like, chasing a woman, like.
Yeah.
And he fucking.
And wasn't it his cousin?
Sure. He ran into her house, and her dad was protecting her. She's like upstairs. He never got to see her. She's hiding in a room, and he's like, "Let me talk to her for as long as I can hold my hand over this candle." It burnt a hole in his dad wouldn't let him. The dad wouldn't let that kind of nonsense go down. But he literally was so passionate that's nonsense levels of passion.
I don't know if that's passion.
It's obsession.
Yeah.
Yeah, that type of person tends to have an obsessive nature. How are we on time, kid?
30 minutes.
30 minutes? Yeah, we'll get to the hotel and then stop.
We'll stop when I say we stop.
Very good. Let the good times roll.
It's a nice-ass RV.
Yeah.
You know, one thing about being on the road is I constantly am reminded there are a lot of people on this earth that have a lot more money than I do.
Yeah. Yep. We're making great money following the Dollar General Empire expansion. When I was doing those chapterettes for East Coast Cowboys, I was wanting to do 3 that were called Fistful of Dollar Generals for a few Dollar Generals more, and all for the Dollar Generals. But I think I dropped the chapterette format after Harlan. There's no bucket, unless we get in an auto accident or something ridiculous happens to us. We'll just finish this mission, and Harlan's going to be the best part of it. Like, we just blew our load right off the bat.
Yeah, that's still just you. I'm so glad that you had such an amazing experience.
I tend to value both the good and the bad times.
I just wanted to go to the hotel.
We're working on it.
No, not now. Then.
Oh, yeah. We had 2 hours to drive to that hotel.
And what did I tell you at the gas station? What did I say? I said
we'll never leave Harlan alive.
We should go get close to the hotel.
You mind lighting me up a cigarette?
No.
You know, you were right. And I absolutely kept us in a bad place until bad things happened.
Yup.
What do you expect? It's me. I live for the adventures. I live for the nonsense. So, all that to say, if I get good at being a writer, if I put a couple more books out, I'm 100% expecting the CIA to fucking or whoever watches over the culture to take an interest in me. And I wonder what that's going to look like. Ideally, we won't cause any problems for each other. We'll just, I don't know, maybe work together.
Who knows? Time.
Yeah, definitely kicking a bee's nest in the nuts with this one.
What?
This podcast? The whole idea of the podcast is just be controversial to attract attention.
And I'm just here to get shit on with you, apparently.
You're a man of the road, Jay. You're a ghost in the darkness.
I don't know about all that.
Yeah, that's a bunch of poetic nonsense, really.
I'm just a person.
Trying to get by.
Not going far away. My old common damn shoe.
Kids, you got anything to add to this podcast? You blew us out of the water with our last one.
Nope.
No more to say. All right. I'll just have to take that.
There was a lot of confidence in that you were just like, nope, no, I want nothing to do with you two right now.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Like, I'm never getting in a truck with you two again.
Oh, yeah. Me and you are just two angry snakes going about the world, hissing and shit.
Hissing and shit. I don't know about snake. I think of it more as like a starved dog that's been kicked one too many times.
The world has absolutely been cruel to us, that we turned into cruel hollow men in return. That's all the way back to our point, the hollow men. That's what the hollow men is about, is violent souls. Men with savage natures.
Do you consider me a violent soul?
Considering the way this podcast started, Not at all. Podcasting is a lot of fun. More people need to do this. All it is just two idiots hitting record, and then like having some kind of structure of things to talk about. My favorite podcast is Mr. Sunday Movies. These two, for some reason, Australians and Kiwis are the most hilarious people to me. I absolutely get their humor.
What are Kiwis? Like the fruit?
Kiwis are from New Zealand.
Ah.
Aussies and Kiwis. I love their culture, but they're these two guys that I might end up copying their model later on down the road. But it's Nick Meso and James something in Mr. Sunday Movies. They're so fucking funny together. They just talk about Marvel movies. Like the whole thing is about like whatever's going on in Hollywood. They just shit on it. Like they have no fear. They just shit on it if it's bad, praise it if it's good, and like harken back to the origins of whatever villain or hero. I mean, there's a ton of content to make there. They put shit out like 3 times a week, and they have like full-on editors. It's my favorite podcast. Kip got on a podcast.
When?
There's some kind of podcast about making shit, and they have like a contest, and Kip's in the run-ins because that man can make. He made his own guitars with like inlaid pearl, but with his fucking dog's face inlaid in mother of pearl.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he made like electric guitar. Like that man just is a master of whatever he sets his mind to. We need to call him up, maybe tomorrow, and just have him like come through on the radio and talk to us and be on the podcast. 'Cause he's just such an interesting fucking person. Like he's won every single fight in his life. And you gotta love a man that wins every fight.
Why are we still 5 minutes away? 4 minutes.
So I'm talking to somebody in Winston-Salem. It seems like a pretty sweet person. As long as I can keep him off my Facebook, it should be alright.
Yeah.
I make a lot of content. Not all of it is great.
No.
But it's always important.
Yeah.
At least to me.
I'm here for you, bud.
Thank you for believing in my delusions, Jay.
Oh, I don't believe in your delusions. I believe in trying to keep you somewhat grounded. Madness just happens to be a very pleasurable affair. You are agreeing.
Yeah, what the fuck is the deal with the Greens?
I don't know, bud. I don't.
It's a weird combination of personality disorders. Is what I've come to believe. You get two narcissists of two different types, put them together. The household that they create with like religious delusion, produces a bunch of people with varying levels of like additional personality disorders, and then send them to war. Or like into the logging camps, like just the most brutal existence for men possible. Or even, I ain't gonna talk about that on the radio.
Yeah, don't talk about that one. That's not a.
I have no idea what he's doing right now, but I can't fucking imagine.
When was the last time you heard from him?
Long time ago.
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's a part of me that loves him. There's a part of me that's just like, I have your personality. Everyone's told me growing up, And I accomplished his dreams. He always wanted to be an author. And I actually became one. So he probably feels some kind of way about that. I don't think he ever finished this big old sci-fi series or book that he was writing. But he did a hell of a lot of writing.
I think you can share a personality with someone, but it doesn't necessarily mean you share the same soul. Like, you're not inherently evil.
Tell that to the women of my town.
Start putting those brakes on. All right, there we go. Oh, making me sweat.
Where we at, kid, on time? 45 minutes.
Perfect. Bye, guys.
See ya.